Very good day to everybody. This is advanced programming practice, and in this class, we'll have a short introduction about why we need Django. Then we discuss the usage of command line, how you try to install Python 3 on the Mac OS X platform, how you try to install the Python 3 on the Windows platform, on the Linux platform, virtual environments, installing Django, installing Git, and finally the text editors. Okay, so this is especially for you, my dear students and young researchers, and you can reach me at dr.christoananth@gmail.com. So before beginning the session, once again let me thank God for giving me this opportunity to deliver this useful session to share my knowledge among my fellow national, international participants, students, and young researchers. Okay. So in this class, we'll have a short introduction about why we need Django. Okay. Then we'll have the initial setup about the command line. Okay. How you try to install Python 3 on the Mac OS X, in the Windows platform, and of course in the Linux platform. Okay. Then we try to make use of the virtual environments. Okay. How you try to install the Django, install the Git, and also the working with the text editors. Okay. So this is what we are going to see. Actually, when you say Django, it's nothing but a web framework, okay, where you have a collection of several tools that you can actually go for much more repetitive tasks even, okay, like we try to maintain a common framework, okay. For example, like even in the website you see, there might be several functionalities, okay. Maybe like different pages, if you scroll through, the same functionality will be the same, okay. So you need not have to repeat the task once again, like you have a common framework and you can apply on each of the tasks, okay, right. So for example, like most websites need the same functionality, maybe they have the ability to connect to the database, or maybe you can set the URL routes, or maybe display the contents of the page, okay, and maybe you can handle the security features. Maybe the website might have like SSL certificate, secure socket layer certificate, okay. So same, the authentication, privacy, everything has been built in the website using the Django, okay. So rather than what you try to recreate, especially from the beginning, okay, like programmers have created a web framework in all of the programming languages, like maybe like Django, or maybe Flask in Python, Rails in Ruby, and of course Express in the JavaScript. So several tasks you can do for, okay. So this is the batteries included approach, okay, like we'll try to ensure the user authentication. Of course, we try to maintain templates, routes, and of course views even, and we have a admin interface even, okay. Of course, like we have like a reliable, robust security features even, and we can go for support for the various multiple database backends, okay. So like we are making it easier for the web developers to do the task much more easier even, okay. So we are going to focus much more on the web application rather than what you're trying to reinvent the entire procedure, okay. So this is what we are going to use in Python, okay. Like we'll have like a micro framework, okay. So that's the most popular approach, okay, because it will be providing very minimum basic features that is needed to build the entire functionality, okay. Like you can actually go for installing and maybe configuring the third party packages even, okay. So that will definitely try to repeat the basic functionality. So if you make a very simple framework, then definitely it will be very much useful for the beginners, okay. So using this approach, it's much more flexible even, and you can correct your mistakes much more easily, okay. So, like Django, it's a very good choice for any web developer who wants to build modern, robust web applications with very less code. Okay, so it's much more popular even under the active development, and of course, it's battle tested. Okay, like we go for several tests, we verify the process, and only then we try to implement it in the real time website. So this is the initial setup, okay. We'll have the command line, so it's nothing but a text view, okay, of your computer. So we'll try to install, we try to configure each of the Django project, okay. So you can implement it in a Mac platform, or maybe Linux platform, or maybe Windows platform even. Especially in the Mac platform, the command line, you will have it called as the terminal, which is located in the application /utilities. Okay. So for this one, you have to open a new Finder window and you try to open the application folder. So here you can choose the utilities folder, okay, and you double click on the terminal, okay. So in the terminal only you will go with the features given, okay. In Windows platform, maybe you can go with the partial application. Maybe you can search even in the modern computers also you can go for partial, and that's a dedicated command line shell where you can go for the initial setup of the command line. Okay. So these are the most 6 frequent commands in the Django development. Like we will have like cd, okay. Cd means change down a directory, okay. Then you will have cd dot dot. It is nothing but change up a directory, okay. ls means it's going to list your files in the current directory. pwd means it's a print working directory. mkdir making a new directory, okay. And then touch, you are going to access a file or maybe create a new file, okay. So here you are going to open your command line and maybe you can type cd or maybe cd dot dot or maybe pwd, you can type and you will get the execution, okay. So here $sign will be used in the command line prompt, so which means that all the commands are intended to be typed after the $cmd, $pwd, $mkdir. So this is what you are going to type. So maybe like if you are in the Mac platform, you can change it to the desktop directory, okay. So $cd, what is cd? Change down a directory, okay. Then the symbol, okay, /desktop. So which means that our current location desktop is automatically added before the command line prompt, and maybe in order to confirm we are in the proper location, we can use pwd, okay, right, print the working directory, okay, which will be printing the path of the current directory, okay. So maybe in the command line you will have the symbol, okay, /desktop $pwd, okay, that is in the path, okay, /users/wsv/desktop. So in the users, you are going to create a new user wsv, okay, maybe you can create, okay, mosaic, you can create some name, okay, /desktop. So maybe it will be accessing within users, within mosaic, it will be accessing the desktop, okay. So on the Mac computer, okay, so maybe you will use the username wsv, you can choose your own name, okay, for that account. So we can create a new directory folder with mkdir. Mkdir is making the new directory, okay. And then after that you will go with cd, changing the directory, and maybe you will add a new file index.html, okay. So here in the command line, if you can see desktop $mkdir new folder, okay. Then you change the directory to the new folder. Then within the new folder you will go with $touch index.html. What is this touch? You are going to create a new file, okay. So you can also go for listing ls, okay, to list all the current files in a directory, and maybe you will see the newly created index.html, okay. So command line desktop/new folder $ls index.html, okay. So maybe that's a final step. You will return to the desktop directory with cd dot dot, and maybe you can use pwd, print working directory, to confirm the location. So maybe desktop/new folder $cd dot dot. So it is nothing but changing up a directory, okay. So within that the /desktop $pwd, print working directory, okay, the users wsv desktop, okay. Like even in the advanced developers also, maybe they will use the keyword, maybe they will try to go for the command line even to navigate through the computer much more easier even. So they will do like multitasking, and maybe like if you can type, that is much more easier than using the mouse. For example, even in MS DOS also you type the commands rather than using the mouse. So you can also install Python 3 on the Mac OS X, okay. So like Python 2 is already installed by default on the Mac computers, but Python 3 is not installed, okay. So you can confirm this by using the typing the Python version, okay, in the command line console, and you can hit the enter, okay. So $python -version, okay. So the version is nothing but Python 2.7.15. So if you can get this one, so which means that this current version has been installed. So maybe if you can check, okay, like Python 3 is already installed or not. So maybe like $python hyphen version. Maybe if your computer is going to display this result 3.7.x or maybe 3.7.3, 3.7.10. Okay, which means that it's very good. Okay, like otherwise if it is not installed means you will get an error message and it will tell you to install the Python 3 directly. So this is our first step. You are going to install the Apple Xcode package. Okay, so you have to go for running the command. Okay, in order to install it. Okay, so $xcode select install. Okay, so this is what you are going to click all the confirmation commands. Okay, so generally this Xcode is a large program, so definitely it will take some time. Okay, to install depending on your internet connection. Okay, so what you do? You try to install the package manager, okay, homebrew through a very long command. Okay, so $/usr/bin ruby -e dollar. So you'll have this command curl -fs/sl secure layer. Okay, so raw.github/homebrew/install/master/install. So it's generally a long command that you will go for. Okay, and in order to confirm that the homebrew has been installed correctly, so you will go with $brew doctor. Okay, so if you go for this one, then it will show your system is ready to brew. Okay, so after getting this one, generally you will go with the installation of the latest version of the Python. Okay, so you will go with $brew install Python 3. Okay, and in order to confirm, you will go with $python hyphen version. So you will go with Python 3.7.0. So which means that the latest version of the Python has been installed. Okay. So in the Mac OS X platform, so you'll go with the command line $python 3, Python 3.7.0. So default it has been installed. Okay. So you'll go with type help, copyright, credits, license. So this is all will be displayed. Okay, down it will be displayed. Okay, and in order to exit this particular Python 3 interactive shell, you'll go with Control and then D. Okay, so that will be, if you press simultaneously, it will be exiting that particular environment. So you can also still run the Python shells, okay, with Python 2. Okay, so maybe the command line $python, the Python version 2.7.15. So everything will be displayed default. Okay, type help, copyright, credits, license, everything will be displayed. So in the Windows, okay, you can also install. So Python is not default by default. It's not installed in the Windows. Okay, but anyway, we can check if that particular version is there or not. Okay, so you can go for opening the command line. Okay, by entering the command on the startup menu. Okay, or maybe you can press Shift key and maybe right click on your desktop. So you can select the open command window here. Okay, so here you'll type in the command line $Python version. Okay, so you'll get Python 3.7.0, which means that the latest version has been installed. Okay, so you can go for downloading the installer and make sure you go for clicking the add Python to the path option. Okay, so that will be using the Python directly from the command line. Okay, so after the Python has been installed, so you go with running the following command like $Python version. So the version will see Python 3.7.0, which you get means, which means that if it works, so it is done. And for the Linux platform, you can install the prerequisites. Okay, so you have to make sure that like you have to compile the Python. Okay, so you have to install the developmental tools and maybe you have to install the extra libraries. Okay, so extra libraries are not strictly needed to actually compile the Python, but without them, the Python interpreter will not be much more useful even. Okay, so you have to exit the commands. Okay, so as a root, maybe by temporarily logging in, or as root, or maybe by using sudo you can go for. Okay, so make sure that your system is up to date. Okay, so yum update. Okay, and after that you make sure that you install the compilers and related tools. So yum group install -y developmental tools. Okay, so you'll have yum install -y z library develop b zip2 develop open SSL secure socket layer develop n curses d devel, okay, SQLite devel readline, devel tk devel, okay, gdbm, devel db4, develop, okay, like we will have lib pcat, okay, and devel is nothing but the develop, okay, exit devel expat develop, okay. So this is what, it's a long code that we will go for, okay, and make sure that you will have the minimum code even, okay, on the CentOS platform. So maybe you will go with yum install hyphen y wget, okay. So this is what you are going to see, okay. So you will go with downloading, compiling, and of course installing this Python. So you will have within the shell Python 2.7.14 wget, okay. So you are going to get this one, python.org, okay, file transfer protocol within the Python 2.7.14, the version tar.exit, okay. So you'll go with tar exf Python the version, okay, tar.exit. Okay, and you change the directory Python 2.7.14. So you configure, okay, the prefix usr local, enable the Unicode, okay, UCS4, enable the shared the LE flags, okay. So we'll go with the path make and make all install. So maybe in 3.6.3 also you will go with the same thing, wget http python.org ftp the version tar.exit, okay. Then you will go with tar exf, okay, this is the same thing, and change the directory to the new version, okay, Python 3.6.3. So you configure the same thing over here is displayed, okay, PSR, I mean the USR local enable shared LEF flags, okay. Then you make all install, okay. So maybe after running all these commands, okay, about the newly installed Python interpreter will be actually available within the USR local bin Python the version 2.7, okay, or maybe if you are using a latest version, you will go with Python 3.6, okay. So that is actually available, okay. So maybe you can strip the extra libraries, okay, strip the symbols from the shared library in order to reduce the memory footprint, okay. So strip the Python 2.7 binary, so strip usr local library. So in this is the library Python 2.7, okay, .so 1.0. So maybe if you are using 3.6, or maybe you will go for 3.6 yum.so 1.0. So this is the difference. Then you will go with installing or maybe upgrading the pip setup tools and maybe build. Okay, so for this one you get the script, okay, wget the bootstrap dot the input output function get pip function, okay. Then you try to execute, okay, Python 2.7 get pip.py or maybe 3.6 get pip.py, okay. So maybe when you try to install the pip, okay, you try to install the package name, okay, and you go with the upgrade, okay, package name, and maybe uninstall the package name. So which means that whatever we work for works better even, okay. And maybe you will go with using the Python 2.7, okay, maybe you will go with installing the virtual environment function, okay. So virtual environment, it's nothing but how you try to create a isolated Python environment. Maybe you'll go with higher versions, maybe 3.3 or so. So you do not need a virtual environment, okay, because in the higher versions like 3.3, 3.4, it is already built in, okay. So every isolated Python environment, you can also call this as a sandbox, can have its own Python version and packages, okay, which means that you can work with multiple projects and maybe or different versions of the same project even. So this is how you are going to create your first isolated Python environment. So you try to install the virtual environment for the Python 2.7 and maybe you will create a sandbox, okay, my 27 project. So pip 2.7 install virtual environment the my 27 project. So this is the new project that we are calculating, okay. And then you use the built-in functionality, okay, in the Python 3.6, okay, to create a sandbox, okay, my 36 project. So Python the 3.6, okay, like hyphen m v in my 36 project, okay, and you check the system Python interpreter version, so Python hyphen version, so that will show the Python version 2.6.6. and you try to activate the my 27 project sandbox, so source my 27 project slash bin slash activate, okay. Similarly in the sandbox even you can check the version Python hyphen version and finally deactivate, okay. So you can also activate, okay, the my36 project sandbox event. So source my36 project slash bin slash activate, and you will go with the python hyphen version and deactivate. Okay, so virtual environments, it's a isolated environment. Definitely, it will be a very most important part in the Python programming because it's a isolated container with all the software dependencies for the given project. Okay, so it's very important because by default we'll have like Python and Django, which is installed in the same directory. Okay, so maybe it might create a problem when you want to work on multiple projects on the same computer. For example, like Python and Django in the same directory, it might cause a problem. Okay, so we'll have an example like what if project A, okay, uses one version like Django 2.1, but maybe project B, okay, from the last year is still using the older version 1.10. Okay, so without the virtual environment, it becomes much more difficult even, and definitely with virtual environment, you need not have any problem with it. Okay, so there are several areas of software development that you can go with using the virtual environment, and you should use a dedicated virtual environment especially for each of the new Python project. Okay, so Python developers has either virtual environment or maybe Py environment to configure the virtual environment. Okay, generally back in 2017, like 6 years back, okay, the Python developer Kenneth Reeds released the pipin, okay, the environment function, which is now officially recommended Python packaging code. Okay, so that's actually this pipin is similar to npm, okay, the node ecosystem, and that's what you are going to create a pip file which contains the software dependencies and of course a pip file.log for ensuring the deterministic builds. Okay, so determinism, which means that every time you have to download the software in a new virtual environment and you are going to have the exactly the same configuration. Okay, it was Sebastian McKenzie, the creator of Yarn, okay, who first introduced the JavaScript packaging, and we had like a blog post explaining what determinism, why is this very useful, so that they have explained. So here we are going to have a new virtual environment with pipin for each of the new Django project, and maybe to install the pipin we can use pip3, okay, which the homebrew automatically install for the Python 3. Okay, so you'll have $pip3 install pipin function. Okay. So here you'll go with the installing the Django. Okay, so for pipin we are going to create a new directory and maybe you are going to install the Django. Okay, so first of all you change it to the desktop and maybe you create a new directory Django. Okay, and you enter the cd. Okay, so cd, okay, slash desktop mkdir, make the directory Django and change the directory to the Django. So now what you do, you are going to use the pipin function to install the Django. Okay, like $pipin install Django the version 2.1. okay, and maybe you can look within the directory. Okay, you can go with two files like a pip file and maybe pip file.log. Okay, so maybe we'll need for the virtual environment even which is not activated. Okay, so for this one to activate the the environment function, okay, like a $pipin shell. Okay, maybe if you are on a Mac platform, maybe you can see parenthesis on your command line with the environment being activated, and generally it will take the format of the directory name and maybe random characters even. Maybe in the computer even, maybe you will go with Django hyphen. Maybe you will see a random series of characters. So maybe you will go with Django admin. So start the project in the next section. Okay, after which the virtual environment with the Django has been installed. So command line, okay, like Django hyphen the name, okay, JM, okay, Z1NTQW dollar. So this is what you will see like the Django the name, okay, which means that it is working. Okay, so now you are going to create a new Django project, okay, called as a test project. Okay, so Django hyphen this name, okay, then dollar Django admin start project. Okay, the start project, the name is actually test project. Okay, okay, so maybe you'll go with the tree even. Okay, so the layout test project, within the test project we will have manage.py, within the manage.py test project. So test project is nothing but the name. Okay, so initialization.py, settings.py, urls.py, wsdi.py. Okay. So maybe you see how it is going to create a new directory test project, and maybe within that you'll go with manage.py file and maybe test project directory. So again and again you are going to have the same name. Okay. So generally it's much more repetitive event. Okay, because we have already created and maybe navigated to the Django folder event. Okay. So by running this Django admin start project test project, okay, with the period, okay, at the end, which means that you are going to install in the current directory. So generally you can have a security over the folder event. Okay, so within the manage.py test project, okay, within the test project you will have initialization.py, settings.py, urls.py and wsda.py. So this is how you are going to have the confidentiality and of course the alignment event. So it doesn't really matter if you include the period dot or maybe not, okay, at the end of the command, but definitely you can use the period. Okay, so this is recommended. Okay, so in the command line you will have Django hyphen the name JMZ1NTQW. So within that with a parenthesis, okay, so dollar Python manage.py run server. Okay. So you will see in the 127.0.0.148, if you can see in the front end, okay, so you can see the installation works successfully. Congratulations. So if you get this message, which means that the installation worked correctly. Okay, and here to start the local server, okay, you can type control and then C. So which means that you are going to exit the virtual environment. So Django hyphen JM Z1NT QW, then you will have $exit. Okay. But still we can always reactivate the virtual environment again using the pip n shell. Okay. So the basic pattern is all about installing the new packages, okay, with the pip n. Okay, you are going to activate them and maybe you are going to exit when you completely exit. Okay. So with one virtual environment that's active, that is very much useful in the command line. Then you'll go with installing the Git. Okay, so definitely for the software development, it's very important. It's a version control system that you can use it as a powerful version. Okay, especially for tracking changes in the MS Word or maybe Google Docs even. Okay, so with Git, you can actually collaborate with several developers. You can actually track your work through the comments even, and of course, you can go with the previous version of it even. Okay, so on the Mac. Because the home brew is already installed, we can simply type brew install git. So $brew install git. Okay. And in the Windows platform, you should download the Git, okay, from the Git for Windows. Okay. So this is Git for Windows, and maybe you can click on the download button and you can go through the commands for the installation. Okay. So maybe you'll type this one $git configure hyphen global user dot name your name. Okay. And $git configuration global user dot email your name at the rate of email.com. So both the things you have to type for. Finally, the text editors. Okay, so within the command line, you can actually go for execution of commands. Okay, that is where you can go with text editor like the notepad file. Okay, so computer doesn't care what text editor you use, but finally it's a code. Okay, so good text editor means we will have some hints, some command line. Okay, and you can have these features. Okay, so experienced developers often prefer using Vim or maybe Emacs. Okay, so both it's old, okay, text only editors with more followers even. Okay, so we can have a steep learning curve and definitely requires memorizing many different keystroke combinations. So modern text editors combine the same powerful features with an appealing visual interface, and definitely you can use Visual Studio Code even. That's much more easier, free, and you can install them and you can enjoy much more features even. Okay, and if you are not already using a text editor, download and install the Visual Studio Code. So this is the conclusion. Okay, whatever we are doing, okay, it's a one-time feature. Okay, that you will go with installing the local development environment. Now we have learned, okay, all about the virtual environment. We have installed the latest version of Python and Git. Definitely, you can start working on the new Django app.